Hey guys, and welcome back to the Natty scene with your host AJ Morris, and this is the M&M update. As usual, a weekly episode from me and Vicky, and this week we are 1 week out. Well,
holy shit!
Pretty much 1 week out. We are recording this on Thursday, and it will be 1 week out, obviously, on Sunday. We step on stage on the Sunday, and here we are. Like, this has been for me, next week will be the 34th week of prep. How long has it been for you in total, Vicky?
I think, do you know what? It's going to be about the same, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah, so I reckon this is going to be about either 33 or 34.
Yeah, unreal.
Yeah, hardcore.
It's been a long journey, and me and Vicky were just talking off air as to like, it comes to an when you can sort of like, I mean, I know that I've got the UK DFBA Finals. We also don't know about the possibility of qualification for World Finals, etc. Not that we want to jinx anything, but we work our fucking asses off, and we want to do as well as we possibly can do. And we've been open and honest about that in past episodes. But you get to the end of this process, and you're like wow, like I've done this for so long. And it never gets any easier, but it almost gets a little bit more mentally rewarding when you look back on the fact that you've pushed through a significant amount of days that have tested you. Days where you've thought, man, I could do with more food here, or man, I could do with taking a day off here, and you haven't. Like, me and Vicky won't have had anything that's out of plan or off schedule. You haven't ever gone over your requirements, have you ever? Never.
No, never. Never missed some steps, never missed expenditure.
Never not ticked a box. And the thing is, what we don't want to do, I don't think we want to say to the people that it's not okay to have a day where you do fuck up, because I think that a lot of initial comp preppers, first timers, do fuck up. I think a lot do, and I think a lot of pros do as well. I think there are people out there that will go over the macros and that will miss a box one day. But for us, I think it's just, for me, it doesn't even cross my mind. Like, I'd rather feel like garbage and tick all my boxes than go over on one and miss a box. And I'd not go to bed well at night if I knew that I'd miss something. And I'm sure that you're the same. Anyway, so let's roll into you first, Vicky. So you've had, by the sounds of it, a bit of an up and down week for sure, but nevertheless a successful and productive one. I'm sure that lots of boxes have been ticked and some progress has been made. So talk us through this week in terms of what's happened with your physique, and then obviously we'll discuss how training has gone, etc., and the plans for next week.
Sure. Okay, so basically, physique-wise, one of my main goals over the last 2 weeks was to bring my waist in a little bit tighter.
Yeah.
And we spoke through beforehand holding vacuums and having those planks. And can I just verify, holding a vacuum does not mean holding a Hoover, right, that you actually do all your vacuuming with?
Yeah, someone thought that, didn't they? They were like, don't you call it a Hoover over there? I was like, no, it's still a vacuum.
I mean, could you imagine if you could bring your waist in just by holding a Hoover every single day? Or holding a Dyson or a Henry. That would be just absolutely hilarious. But no, holding a vacuum just means kind of sucking your stomach in up against your waist, up against your ribs, and just holding it there, but still managing to breathe. That's the difference. It's not just kind of sucking it in and holding your breath. So anyway, moving swiftly on from that one. So we were holding some vacuums, doing planks, doing side planks, various other bits like that. And I am very pleased to know and to let everybody know that yesterday when I took my measurements, I am 1/2 inch down in my waist.
That's very cool to see.
Yeah, so I was really kind of impressed by that as well. because I honestly did think that I kind of reached my limit on pulling my waist in,
Sure.
but no, that actually really helped. So I'm really chuffed about that one. Food wise has gone really well. Nothing really changed from what we spoke about previously. I've still got a good load of carbs in my diet. I've still got a good load of fats in my diet, and I'm still being consistent with it. However,
have you been any more hungry this week as opposed to previous weeks? What
yeah.
has hunger levels been like?
So I don't know if we actually spoke about it, but I had a refeed day where I boosted my calories back up to just over maintenance, actually, which was like 3,200 calories, near enough.
Okay.
And we were into the 400 grams of carbs club, which was always nice. So we put that back up, and on my first refeed day, which was on the Friday, I dropped weight, and it was about half a pound that I dropped, which, it's not expected at this point, really. So we just kind of went, holy shit, what we got to do now? I know, we'll do exactly the same thing. So we refed again on exactly the same calories, exactly the same food sources that I used, just because I really enjoy them as well. And it's keeping consistent. There was no bloat. There was no digestive issues. So we kept that. And then finally, my weight kind of went up by 1.5 pounds.
Sure.
So we were looking at about 800 grams of a refeed from carbs.
Yeah.
And realistically, I gained 1 pound from that.
Yeah.
But I looked so much better. I mean, it looked like I was about 4 pounds heavier. And I even got a pump doing cardio in the morning, which was just hilarious. That was really funny. So that was that. Physique wise, I'm looking all right. I'm back down to really, really looking flat now as well.
And then what was hunger higher after the refeed? Is that
oh, sorry, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Sorry, like lack of sleep is obviously getting to me, isn't it? So I keep on forgetting it. But yeah, hunger levels after 2 high days. Jesus Christ. I was like a bear that had just woken up from hibernation, that had been encountered by the squirrel that had taken all of my hibernation food that I was ready to eat. So I was really angry and hangry, should I say, and stupid hungry for the entire, I'm still stupid hungry now. So it just goes to prove that having 2 high refeed days consecutively, oh my God, the hunger, I can't even tell you. I mean, I'm not saying that it's the worst thing in the world, because let's face it, we're still in quite a good position. There are thousands of people out there who are starving, and you are not starving. Fact, you are not starving. You're hungry. Deal with it, man. So hunger levels have been really bad this week. But the good news is that I have been flatter as well, and my weight has had a significant drop. Okay. So I actually went from our post refeed 104.6, and I am down today and yesterday to exactly 102.
Okay.
So dropped a fair bit, but haven't actually sacrificed any kind of tissue that I can see. I'm still nicely rounded and stuff, just basically flat. So it is high chippy day today.
Oh, good.
So my chippies are actually there soaking in some water, ready to go in the air fryer of peace, and ready to get textured up with some smoky paprika. So it's another refeed day today, which
what have you got training wise today and cardio?
Going to do, so I've done 40 minutes of just list cardio in the morning, which I did on the recumbent bike with a pillow.
Sure.
Yes. My poor ass does need that pillow.
Absolutely.
So did that this morning, nothing too strenuous. And then I have got a delt session today. Okay. So
sure. Nice.
Delts and a couple of reps on some arms and things like that. Okay. Just nothing massively strenuous, I suppose.
Sure.
And then best from that.
So with body weight down to a new low, obviously you're potentially seeing some changes. Obviously you've seen changes where you initially wanted them in the waist. Now, what's the plan for next week? So obviously you're going to be leading into peak week now. I know that last time you did sort of consecutive sort of back-to-back high carbohydrate days going to the show, which is normally known as more of a front load than a back load. I think you started a little like midweek, didn't you? Started like Wednesday or Thursday?
I did a refeed. I did a refeed Friday, Saturday. So I backloaded. So I backloaded.
Okay,
definitely,
so going into next week, are you going to do any sort of form of depletion at all, with you already being pretty depleted at the moment? What's the plan, and are you going to be pulling back on cardio, and what's training going to be looking like next week?
Yeah, definitely. So training wise, I've actually just gone back into my heavier sets, which I absolutely love because,
Nice.
you know, on Monday I started my heavier sets because I was doing quite a higher rep range and still lifting heavy, but I was going between 14 and 18 reps. And it got to the point where it was like, yeah, okay, I'm getting results and I'm seeing lots of changes and everything's working, but man, do I hate fucking high rep training.
Yeah, boring, right?
You know, oh my God, it's just like, I've got to get another fucking set and another fucking set and another fucking set. Oh, it's just horrible. Really did
Yeah.
not like it.
Uh-huh.
And even going into my squats, things like 3 sets of 18 on squats, I don't care who the hell you are, that is going to fuck you up. And,
Buried.
yeah, proper buried. And I wasn't lifting as heavy and I just didn't like it. And it was making me feel lethargic and weak. And anybody who knows me knows that I just don't like feeling weak. I like
Oh,
feeling strong.
yeah, tell me about it, right?
Yeah, so on Monday I swapped it back up again and we went back to some heavy lifting. And I still managed to pull out. The last time I did this cycle was like 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And the last time I did my back day, or a pull session, should I say, I did 105 kilo rack pulls for 4 sets of 12 reps.
Okay.
And that was with like a slower eccentric as well. So we were looking about 3 or 4 second eccentric.
Uh-huh.
Went back in. I just basically put 100 kilo on the bar and just did all 4 sets of 12 with perfect form, perfect squeezes, holds at the top. And I was like, man, I've still retained my strength. So I'm quite happy with that. So that went really well. So
Nice.
and I was happy that I was lifting heavy and I was grunting again. And yeah, it was all really good. I really enjoyed that. So heavy training is basically what's going to keep that tissue, because you're also going to shock your body into thinking, shit, I've broken down a hell of a lot of tissue and I need this strength in order to build it back up again. So I'm not going to use the muscle tissue that people might think that you might lose when you're in a massive calorie deficit and things. So even though I'm still... Absolutely, right? So you've still got to kind of push right to the nth degree. Everybody's seen AJ on his hack squats and failing at the bottom on his top set, and that is what is keeping his legs in as gorgeous as they are. So make sure that you push as heavy as you can for as long as you possibly can, obviously without causing injury.
On that topic, it's funny how... I think we become slightly more adaptive to higher rep ranges as we diet down, because I can just fucking go. I can go and go and go. I feel like I'm like Mo Farah on a fucking hack squat, because in my off season the cardiovascular ability would limit me from doing that, and also I think there's got to be some sort of adaptations going on with regards to muscle fiber. And the amount of muscle fibers that you have type 2 versus type 1 to actually sew together a set like that, because it's also very clear. Jack, for example, my best friend, who's very deep into his off season, and it's not so much,
hella deep.
It's not so much cardiovascularly that he's lagging, but I can do like giant sets, because I did an upper body session with him on Saturday. And I giant set some of my stuff on upper body, and I can just fucking go to no detriment into like performance. I can do like for example, like a seated V-bar row into a shrug, into a bicep move, into a tricep move, with absolutely no detriment to performance in any of those moves. I can retain numbers that actually I was hitting when I'd split all those exercises up, and he can't. He can't, and he couldn't, like, even on down sets. We did top sets, and then we do down sets, and for him, the down sets were, he smashed me on the top sets, and he couldn't do any of the down sets. He failed, like, and he was just looking at me like, what the fuck are you? Because I was just, on my down sets, they were just pissed, like, nothing, because they're high rep, lower intensity. So I've just become, like, some sort of beast when it comes to sort of the endurance side of training, which I think is quite cool. I like feeling fit, and I like feeling like I can run around the gym. Hence why, like, the other day when I started to get like really fatigued and I was like doing like unpinning my bed and things like that, I just got really fucked off because I hate feeling like that. I'm like you. I hate feeling weak. I hate feeling lethargic, and those are the sides of contest prep that you will just get. But every day's a new day, and we roll into it and we attack it as much as we can. But yeah, I think that's a good roundup of you. I think that's part people in a good position to know what you're up to and know where you're at. Obviously, and another thing that's just sort of we want to touch on very quickly is you have openly struggled with your sleep, haven't you, Vicky? In terms of,
definitely.
The amount of hours.
Yeah, over the last 3 days, I've probably gained about 11 hours worth of kip, which is hardcore, and it is really, really draining, to the point where one of my colleagues actually said to me, dude, is it really worth it? Which I had to basically say, oh my God, I'm 10 days out, as if I'm going to stop now just because of a bit of a lack of sleep. But
it's exactly what my general population clients said to me last year.
Yeah,
pretty much every session they were like, AJ, you don't look well. Like, is this worth it? And I was like, you telling me that is really kind of you, but please shut the fuck up.
Absolutely, yeah. You just don't want to think about it. And I think that's the difference between us and other people out there, is the fact that we just don't think about it. Yes, we feel like shit. Yes, we feel like down in the dirt. And I just want to kind of touch on these dark sides of prep, because like we were talking about previously, we're very, very open about it. The lack of sleep, the hunger is kind of, it's all right. You can deal with it. However, I don't know what you're feeling like at the moment, AJ, or whether you've got it at all, but my skin is so dry, like I'm literally flaking out into my clothes, and I'm that dry. My heels on my feet are cracking and splitting open.
Yeah, I've got that from my steps.
Yeah, these are things that everybody has got to consider before going into a deep competition prep, to see right the way to the end. If you want to make it hard, this is what you need to push through, because other people won't.
Yeah.
You've just got to get yourself into that mindset and think, do you know what? It's for 2 more weeks. Or do you know what? It's for 10 more days.
Yeah.
And get your loofah out. Have you started skin prep yet?
I've been moisturising for I don't know, since before the Midlands, and then pretty much every time after that. So, yes.
So I use a skin exfoliator as well, that my husband helps me obviously get all of the dry skin off as well, and that really helps, and it stops all this incredible itching and makes you so frustrated and everything like that. So it is something that you've got to consider. And to be honest with you, I hate skin prep because it's exfoliation, it's scrub, it's then wash, it's then moisturizer, and all this for one layer of tan of an evening time, Man. But it's everything that you've got to consider. And if you want to make it and give it your all for every competition that you want to step on stage for, you've just got to basically separate yourself from the others that aren't going to do that.
Yeah.
So, it is highlighting the bad sides of prep, or the dark sides of prep, that Instagram models don't put on, and they're just like, yes, I look great. Yes, I look fabulous. And yes, you're all photoshopped. Because at that point, you don't feel like that. Anyway, that's my little rant. So moving on very swiftly to the AJ Big Morris. How's your week been? What's been going on physique-wise? I've seen some striated glutes every morning. Oh, yes, my favourite time of day. What else has gone on? You've had some strong chippy gains as well. I've been seeing your chippies.
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, we spoke last week in terms of what I was going to do to food and how I was going to sort of roll with things. So food has remained the same. I did say in the podcast, I think I was going to up my carbs by 10 grams, and eventually I actually didn't make that change. I made the change to dietary fat, because my fats had been at 35 for 2 or 3 weeks, and at some days when I was doing the refeeds, they'd been at 30. So basically, some of the signs of an excessively low dietary fat intake are not only the skin dryness, but also sort of really deep cognitive functioning issues. So focus, neural drive, and also memory are signs of issues with low dietary fat intake, because basically dietary fat plays a huge role in brain function. So if you're not getting enough dietary fat in your diet, which is quite common with pre-contest diets, you're going to be low fat, high carb, moderate protein if you're doing it right, in my opinion. That's no disrespect to ketogenic diets or anything like that. It's just the way that I think it's more optimal. So I up fats instead by 5 grams. And guys, when you say, oh my God, 5 grams can't make much of that difference, it actually does. When you're this lean and when you're this deep into prep, 5 grams of fat, you feel it. 5 grams of fat, you feel it. And my brain functioning, I don't know, like, I only made the change at the start of the week. You can't really tell much of a difference, but because I backload a lot of my dietary fats into my pre-bed meal, I basically have 5 grams of Udo's oil and then some tiniest fucking amount of dark chocolate on my oats, which gets cut up into the finest bits of dark chocolate so it can be spread as far as humanly possible. Back in my off season, I was like having 2 squares on the oats and then 2 squares off the oats and then cashew butter. And now and sometimes I looked at that and I was like, this is gonna be really sickly. And now I think about that and I'm like, you pussy, AJ, you should have just delved into that pit of dietary fat and enjoyed it. And I'm crying about it now, of course. So I've got to man up. So that's the change that I made. And in terms of body weight, it's funny because I'm so regimented. Like, everything I do now, like, literally, my day looks, apart from the body part that I train and some of the client work that I do, my day is the exact same every single day. I'm just like in this, like, such a cyclical routine. It's so good. So I eat my pre-bed meal at exactly the same time. I eat all my meals at exactly the same time. I wake up at exactly the same time. I weigh in at exactly the same time. My body weight has been the exact same all week, which is ridiculous. But it shows, like, how getting in tune with just religious habits, and I mean like religious habits, not just like hitting your macros every day. I mean like religious. Can really avoid that issue of scale weight fluctuation, because scale weight fluctuation is controlled a lot by internal stuff, like a lot by what you do, a lot by when you eat your last meal, a lot by how much you stress, a lot by all these things that you can actually have a large amount of control over. So if you control as many of those things, you can control the way your body weight fluctuates. But at the same time, I have noticed decent, considerable changes to, again, the glutes with me, and again my adductors. Actually, I've never had this lean quads in my entire life, where I stick a leg out in a front lat spread or a front double and my adductor splits from like pretty much my knee up to my hip. That's fucking cool. The first time I saw that one morning, I was like, that is sick. I've never had that. And all I've ever had is like cross striations up to like mid quad. And that's what I had for the Midlands and the UK DFBA. Maybe a little bit more for the UK DFBA, but that's all I've ever had. My quads have never been this lean, and this is where the trade-off comes. You know, like me and Jack were talking about it the other day, like with my body weight being quite, stagnant, it is like half a pound or just a bit more than a pound below last week's average. That's why averages are important. So it's not the same as last week. It's the same low weigh-in, but I've just held it. So my average is down. And I expect that it probably will drop at some point, primarily because towards the end of the week, like now, I feel flatter than I was at the start of the week, but my body weight's the same. It's really weird. So I am expecting a drop at some point.
You'll get that whoosh effect, won't you?
Yeah, but to be honest, quite frankly, guys, I couldn't give a fucking shit what I weigh. All I care about is what I look like in the morning, and that's why I do posing before I weigh in. So, me and Jack were talking about it. We said, at the moment it's a trade-off. I've already lost some quad mass. I know I have. To get that adductor definition and the extra detail that I've got in my quads now, I've had to sacrifice some quad for that, like some actual quad tissue from, namely, like the sweep. My sweep was definitely like my vastus lateralis, I believe. Yeah, vastus lateralis. The outer head of the quad. That was way more prominent when I was fatter at the Midlands. When I was like 4 pounds heavier. So I'm going to be like 4 pounds lighter than I was at the Midlands. So if the judges say that I haven't improved on condition, then fuck me, I must have eaten about 8 McDonald's in Birmingham pre-show for that to happen, because that can't happen. I've got to have been improved. So yeah, it's a balancing act, and I think this is where the whole glute scenario comes in. Oh, got a dog again.
There's the dog.
So if I was to chase like fully top to toe striated glutes right now, I would drop some level of muscle mass away from some areas, whether that be my back, whether that be my arms, my upper chest, my triceps. I don't fucking know where it's going to come from, but it would come from somewhere. Because to get that extra fat off, I'd have to get flat enough to warrant some decent amount of either muscle loss or strength loss at some point. Sure. And I look at photos now, and being objective, I'm still like, yeah, I could get a bit more off, but is it worth it? Like, my glutes are striated from the side. They're the leanest they've ever been. Like, I've not ever had this much detail in my glutes or my hamstrings. So it is really just a balancing act. I think if I was like a larger guy, like in the future, when I'm competing in like an open weight category, like a middleweight category, which will most likely be where I compete, I'd say let's take the chance, let's do it. You know, I've got more tissue now and I'd have more tissue on my glutes as well, so maybe they'd come in at a higher body weight anyway. I've got the tissue there. It's just about, you know, do I go for it? And with 3 weeks until the UK DFBA, it's like, let's see what the feedback is at the BNBF, see how well I fare, and then let's go from there. I mean, I've still got room with food if I really wanted to do it, and just dig for maybe another sort of pound or two, but you know, it really is a balancing act. And I think first up, guys, I'm actually happy with what I've been able to achieve this year. And this is something that reminds me of what Jeff Albert said a long time ago. He started the idea of chasing the physique, and just like not necessarily chasing like your like personal best, or like wanting to just be the best you on stage, because I'm very competitive. If any of my competitors are listening to this, I'm coming for you because I want to win. I'm coming for you. So if you're listening to this, I'm working hard, and you best be working hard as well, because that's like, if this was a press conference, I'd be slamming my fist on the fucking table. You know, I want this as badly as anyone else, but I've chased my best physique, and I've improved, and that's cool to me. And alongside that, I really haven't caused much detriment to anything else in my life. Like, I haven't lost anything from a business perspective, and I really haven't got too weak either in the gym. I'm not dragging my fucking arse in sessions. I'm still stiff legging 72.5 kilo dumbbells for sets of 10, which I was at the peak of my fucking off season. I haven't lost too much, and I think when the sacrifice is much higher, you start to realize the real detriment of bodybuilding. And I think the only sacrifice at the moment for me has just been intense fatigue. Just like, I just want to feel normal again a little bit, and I just want to feel like I've got enough energy just to make it through the day without anything being a hassle. You know what I mean, Vic?
Definitely.
And that's the realism of this week, is what I've realised, is that, you know, I don't mind the hunger, I don't mind the sort of the food or the training or anything like that. All I want is just a bit more energy. And I'm sure so many competitors can relate to that. Like, one of my friends who might listen to this was like, you know, all going out for food, can't wait for food after the BNBF Finals, do you want to come with and destroy the food? And I'm like, you know, like, well, first off, mate, you know, no, because I'm doing the UK DFBA 3 weeks after, and I want to win that, and I'll, you know, like, and I don't want to step on stage at the UK DFBA and hit a front relaxed and thinks, fuck, I shouldn't have had that all you can eat. Sure. You know, it's the things like that, you know, that motivate me moving forward. And the first thing that I'd want to do is, if I was finishing after the Midlands, would be raise my food enough to feel normal.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't. There's no sort of specific, like, I haven't got a treat fucking cupboard or any shite like that that I'm gonna come home and just demolish. And we talked about this in previous episodes, but yeah, that's where I'm at the moment. I think that's quite a ramble, to be honest. So I mean, are you gonna ask me any more questions, Vic? Were you interested in my next week or anything like that? I've
Yeah,
rambled a lot
definitely.
here.
So I think let's actually just talk about what your plan is in relation to carbing up as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because we kind of skipped that over with mine, because I don't know if everybody remembers, but I depleted and I basically reduced all my carbs for like 4 days to get this quote unquote super compensation effect,
Yeah.
which actually didn't work as well as we wanted it to because I just came in a bit too flat. So I probably ran flat for a little bit too long. Now I know that
Sure.
you depleted, so I've changed that plan for this coming peak week. So what are you going to do with yours? Are you going to carb up for a bit longer
Uh-huh.
over some more days, or are you
Yeah.
going to deplete and then super compensate over the same amount of time?
It's funny what I'm gonna do because I'm in a fucking completely different situation to where I've ever been in any prep. Like I've
Yeah,
never been here. I'm on like my macros are like 2,640 calories a day, like
nice,
400 grams of carbs, 40 fats, 170 protein. I don't
nice.
ever feel drastically flat,
Mm.
but that's because in my head I'm eating 400 grams of carbs. I can't be flat. So
Yeah, but it's funny when
I
you are though, right?
yeah, but I am flat. Like this,
Yeah,
like so we took shots yesterday, and Jack was like, "You're flat across your upper chest, and you're flat in this shot." And I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, I am." Sometimes I need someone to fucking tell me,
yeah,
and me to wake up because it's so easy for me at the moment with the last thing that I kind of like am waiting to see any more definition, my glutes. Like, it's so easy for me to actually just look at pictures and literally just look at my ass.
yeah,
Like legit, like I don't even look at my back anymore. I don't even look at my arms. Don't even look at my delts. Like nothing. All I'd look at was the glutes.
mm.
So the plan, and I put this on an IG post yesterday when I put up that front relax. I said essentially what I'm going to do next week is my steps are at 25k a day, so they're pretty
Yeah,
high.
mm.
I'm going to taper that back across the course of the week, and I'm actually going to just leave food the same with the idea that I'm going to be able to assimilate nutrients a little bit better and not go flat from the amount of steps that I'm doing because I'm expending less energy taking in the same amount of energy. I'm going to keep my food the same at least up until Wednesday. I'm going to start tapering steps as of Monday.
Yeah,
So first change I'm going to make is 5,000 off, and then from probably that will lead me into Wednesday depending on how I look / feel, and then I'll probably taper another 5,000 off of that Wednesday, Thursday, and then I'll probably taper another 5,000 off of that and literally go back to 10, which will feel like nothing. Why? Because I've already done 10,000 steps and it's 11 a.m. So
yeah,
that will feel like fuck all for me right now. That's easy. So I that is the plan, and that to me will be a good enough approach to see how I'm looking with less expenditure. Because my quads feel like they're quite tired all the time.
yeah.
They feel like they're holding some sort of cell swelling from the amount of just like pounding away at the pavements that I've been doing. So I think that will lead to some nice fullness in the lower body. Whether you know alongside that with the drop in energy expenditure, my upper body feels that as well. Probably will do a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'll monitor scale weight to an extent, but I'll more so be monitoring the look and how I feel like when I get into the gym, which is good because it's convenient. I'm training around about the time I'll probably be on stage.
Which is
So
good.
everything's really, really, really spot on at the moment. So obviously I plan to most likely increase carbohydrates just a little bit towards the end of the week if I feel like it's needed.
Cool.
But with the load for the UK DFBA, which worked quite nicely, I just went off the back of like my normal low days, which are around about 250 grams, and
Yeah.
then I did. What did I do? I think I did 400, which is where I'm at the moment every day, and then I did 450, and then I did 500, and then I did 550 on the day.
Right.
And that worked nicely, and I don't think I spilled at any point. I think maybe I could have been, I don't know, maybe I could have been a tad bit fuller. And one thing that I did on the day that I didn't really like was one of my meals. For some reason, I put a load of rice cakes in one meal and not very much jam. So
Right.
I was like, why the fuck am I doing this? And this is something that actually in an old Trained by JP video that I watched the other day, he said, when you carb load and you're hungry, you automatically pick foods that are going to be filling.
Yeah.
So you pick like loads of potato, you pick like loads of rice cakes, and that's exactly what I did. Josh Bridgman, shout out to him, he opened my eyes on this. You've got to pick foods that not only sit well but are actually low volume, so they don't fill up your stomach. Because I found like later on in the day when I went on for the lightweights, I did have a bit of a struggle with just like hitting ab shots a little bit, because I didn't feel like Phil Heath, but I felt like it was just a little bit more full. My midsection, and like for example, I've just eaten what probably weighs a kilogram worth of oats and frozen berries. I'm not going to be fucking doing that on show day.
No, sure.
And if anything, it's kind of made me want to try like the whole cream of rice thing, which a lot of people I've seen do, because the digestibility of that seems good, but I probably won't try that at this stage.
No.
I'll keep the oats in it because they digest well. It's just when I'm not going to be adding water, trying to get them to froth up to some sort of like giant cake of oats like this. But I haven't fallen for the courgette yet.
Very good.
I've managed to last legit a whole prep without grating a single courgette into my oats.
Awesome. Same here, to be fair.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Funny.
But yeah, that's the plan for next week. So very simple and very stress free.
Nice.
Because in previous ones, obviously for the first Midlands one, I was like doing high fat days, and I did one loading day. There was hella stress.
Yeah.
So much more chilled. That's me.
Cool. Awesome sauce. So yeah, that rounds it up really nicely then, doesn't it? I think for 1 week out. So
it does.
I think, what shall we do? Shall we do like maybe 3 days out or something like that, and have a catch up on next Thursday?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, I was gonna say like I'd probably be able to definitely feasibly do Thursday, and we can just sort of discuss where we're at with regards to peaking and sort of how we're feeling, whether your sleep has improved as a result of potential melatonin coming in board, which by the way has changed my life for sure. So yeah, I think that would be a good idea. And guys, if you'd like to see that, let us know. Make sure, should we do our usual smiley face so they can screenshot if they're watching on the YouTubes?
Absolutely. Right, well done.
Okay. There we go.
There it is. We want tags. Tags. That worked so well last time, guys. It was so funny receiving those. As well. It really was. It was so good. Just seeing like mine and AJ's faces like this. I hit like 3 or 4 times a day. It was absolutely brilliant. So yeah, make sure you capture that, tag us in it, share it with your friends, etc., etc. And obviously, if we are that popular, we can carry on doing it into the off season.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that would be very wicked. Okay, guys. So yeah, we'll round things up here. Make sure if you're on Instagram as well that you're listening and you're on a walk or whatever, tag us both in your story, share it about. And yeah, guys, lots of love. We'll see you in next week's update, and wish us the best of luck with our sort of peak weeks. Cheers, Vicky.
See you later.
Cool, bye.
Bye.